Good morning. I'm Karen Hamstra. It's Monday, February 11th, 2020, and I would like to welcome you to Title Talk. First off, on this Valentine's week, I'd like to remind you to come on down and pick up your free copy of Book Page. This month's title is For the Love of Books, 71 reads that'll send you head over heels. And you can show your love for Book Page by taking their reader's survey, and I think maybe you can be eligible for a prize if you take that from Book Page. Again, these are free and they're located on top of the new fiction bookshelves right across from the circulation desk. Just walk straight ahead as you enter the main lobby of the library and you'll run right into them. First off, today I have 3 new audiobooks that we will be adding to our collection later this week. You can put them on hold now, however. The first one is called No Fixed Line, and that one is by Dana Stabenow, S-T-A-B-E-N-O-W. Such a dark cover that her name doesn't show up very well. We have Nora Roberts' brand new book, The Rise of the Magics. That too can be placed on hold. And we have J.D. Robb's new one, Golden in Death. So you can get hold of any of those. And then I would like to tell you about some books. The first one is a book that is pictured on the back cover of this issue of booklet or Book Page that I just held up for you. It is by Claire Pooley, P-O-O-L-E-Y, The Authenticity Project. And it starts out with a 70-something artist. His name is Julian Jessup. He's eccentric and lonely, and he has a green notebook. And he believes, here is the green notebook right there. He believes that most people aren't really honest with himself, but what if they were? So he writes the truth about his life in this plain green journal and leaves it in his local cafe, which is run by an incredibly tidy woman named Monica, and she furtively adds her own entry in the plain green notebook, and she leaves it across the street at a wine bar. And before long, a whole bunch of other people have found this notebook, written an entry, and left it somewhere. It says the Authenticity Project is by turns quirky and funny, heartbreakingly sad, and painfully true to life. It's a story about being brave and putting your real self forward and finding out that it's not as scary as it seems. In fact, it looks a lot like happiness. This book has received great reviews. It's no particular genre, just a new novel that's out and you really might enjoy reading. We have a historical fiction novel called Cartier's Hope by M.J. Rose. M.J. Rose is normally quite a popular author, but for some reason nobody had a request on this book, so I nabbed it to show to you people and you, my wonderful viewers. And this is about the Hope Diamond. That's the Hope in the title, and the famous jeweler Cartier buys it and he revs up the story about it. The Hope Diamond really didn't have all the negative legends associated with it until Cartier got hold of it. And the book centers around a female journalist. She's based in New York in 1910 when it was not at all common to be a female journalist. And she begins investigating the story of the Hope Diamond and Cartier. And she makes friends with a Russian jeweler who helps her. And of course, she unexpectedly falls for the Russian jeweler, and things just go on from there. So that's by M.J. Rose. Here's another bit of a romance. This one's a little unusual. It's called The Regrets by Amy, and pardon me, Amy, I have no idea how to pronounce your last name. We're going to call it Bonafons. It's B-O-N-N-A-F-F-O-N-S. And this is about a lonely woman, Rachel. She's been sitting at the same bus stop in Brooklyn, and she's noticed this same golden-haired man sitting on the bench and staring off with kind of a melancholy air about him. And one day she finally musters the courage to introduce himself, and there's just an undeniable chemistry between them. His name is Thomas. He's witty, handsome, mysterious, and clearly a kindred spirit to Rachel. There's just one big problem. Can you guess? He's dead. So They're stuck in a surreal He is stuck in a surreal limbo governed by bureaucracy, and he's unable to cross over to the afterlife. And during that time, he is forbidden to get involved with any member of the living lest he incur regrets. Well, guess what? They break that rule and get involved. And if you'd like to know what happens to Thomas and Rachel, check out The Regrets by Amy Bonifont. And the last new fiction book I want to tell you about is Luann Rice. It's called Last Day. And Luann Rice is normally really popular too, and there were no holds on this book. So come on, people, get with it. This is about two sisters, Kate and Beth, and years ago, their family owned an art gallery, and a very famous painting called Moonlight was taken along with their mother. And the detective assigned to the case, Connor Reed, he made it his vow to protect those two sisters from then on. So Beth moves on, and she keeps the art gallery running. The painting is eventually recovered. I believe the mother was killed. And Beth, the other sister, that was Beth who had the art gallery. This is confusing. Kate, the other sister, she moves into herself. She retreated into herself, became an airplane pilot, took to the skies, and never really landed in one place to stay. One day, Beth is found murdered in the art gallery, and the painting Moonlight is missing again. Connor Reed is the detective assigned to this case once again, and he has to find out who did it. So read all about it. And then I'd like to give you an update. A few weeks ago, I mentioned this book, Facets of Death, by Michael Stanley, who is actually two people writing as one name. This is the one that takes place in Botswana and deals with a suitcase full of missing diamonds in the rough. They were on their way to be polished up into gems. And it's about a detective, David Bingu, who is better known as Kubu, which means hippopotamus in Setswana. Anyway, my husband and I have both read this book, and we really, really enjoyed it. He was so taken with it that he's getting ready to read the other 3 books that these authors have written. So I just like to tell you that if you like nice mysteries, this is indeed a good one, and you can learn quite a bit about Botswana as you read too. Who knew that Botswana is one of the major diamond producing countries in the world? And there also seem to be a lot of cows there who regularly stand in the middle of the road. And then just quickly, I would like to mention 3 nonfiction books to you. And the first one is called How to Do Nothing. And that is really what it's about, learning how to relax and do nothing. The author is Jenny Odell, and that can be found at 303.4833 on the new bookshelf. It's kind of a catchy title. I'm sure you'll remember it, How to Do Nothing. And speaking of remembering things, we have one called Memory Craft by Lynn Kelly. And this is Improve Your Memory with the Most Powerful Methods in History. This is at 153.12 KEL. And if you forget, you can always look that up on our catalog, Memory Craft by Lynn Kelly. And then on a much more sober note, last but not least, 999. The Extraordinary Young Women of the First Official Jewish Transport to Auschwitz by Heather Doone McAdam. And she was author of the international bestseller Rena's Promise, which I believe we have that book too. And this can be found at 940.5318 MAC on the new bookshelf. And it's, of course, a very sad story. These young women thought they were they boarded a train in Slovakia. They thought they were going to work in a factory for a few months as government service, and their government paid them about $200 a piece for the Nazis to take them as slave labor. And as of those 999 innocent deportees, only a few survived. You know, they left really excited, believing they were going on a great adventure. And unfortunately, they were, but not at all the kind of adventure they had hoped for. So on that note, I hope you will have a good Valentine, a good week of reading, and we hope to see you next week. Goodbye.